Hi, my name is Sophie Bassan, and what I'd like to talk about today is being let down. The reason why I picked this topic, is because it happened to me not so long ago. And for a few days, I was actually a little bit sad and grumpy. I knew why. I was feeling let down. I was also feeling very used, which obviously is only my perception. I am human after all, but funny enough, actually, I probably had known for a little while it was heading that way. So I don't really want to give too many details because I wouldn't want a person to recognise themselves either. But the upshot is that whether I have been let down or I haven't, that's how I was feeling at the time. So when you're feeling like that, what should you do? First of all, it's about recognising that it is your perception and that behind every behaviour there is a positive intention. We don't always see it because it's certainly not positive for us, but for the other person, it was. They didn't mean any harm. They didn't want to hurt me or offend me in any way. In fact, you could even argue that it wasn't done in a nasty way, but it's when you start looking back and reading between the lines and looking for the signs that had been there for a little while that you see it. And it's about seeing things from their point of view as opposed to just looking at it from your own. Now, this particular person needed me for various things and they didn't recognise that necessarily. I didn't recognise that at the time either. I can now, because as they say, hindsight is a wonderful thing. So one of the things I often say is that if it is such a wonderful thing, we need to take advantage of it and learn from the experience. And it's not easy. And it's not even naturally what we want to do. Naturally we want to feel that, we've been hard done by and that person's evil and nasty and all the rest of it. But what we forget is that it's not about them, it's about us. And they're not feeling in any way, shape or form how we're feeling. So the only person that's hurt or affected by it is us. So you've got to understand what led to feeling let down. And it's understanding again that it is a feeling and a perception. Other people may have reacted differently to the way I reacted. It's about processing it. It's about processing the emotion and why it's hurting us in that way. In my particular case, it's because I've given my trust. And I had been let down a number of times in the last couple of years or so. So all of a sudden, when I was really trusting and maybe a little bit naive, but I wanted to trust, it didn't work out. And that's fine. I have to accept that. And I have to acknowledge that. I have to take a bit of time to work it out for myself, that's all. And you've got to process these feelings. That's why it takes a bit of time, because it's a natural reaction. As I said, we're all human after all. But it's also learning to recognise the signs for the future. Not in a negative way though. Not so that every time someone acts a little bit similar, you go, oh my God, I'm not trusting you again. It's not about that. And just for the record, I'm not talking about a romantic thing here. It was what I would have liked to think was a friend, but clearly wasn't. So it's about taking things with a pinch of salt and forgiving the people. Because if you stay angry or if you stay sad, the only person that's hurt is you. They're fine, they're carrying on with their lives, you're not. So you have to learn to forgive. As much as sometimes it's difficult, it is the best way. Negative feelings can really damage us if they're not processed properly. And that's why when you feel that way, you need to go through a process. As I said, every behaviour, or behind every behaviour, there's a positive intention. It's about seeing things from their point of view and removing yourself from the equation, but what they wanted out of the situation. It's about accepting and acknowledging how you feel and taking a bit of time. And when you have invested emotions and trust, you will feel sad. I liked the person, I didn't want things to go down that route, but I didn't actually have a choice in the matter. And that's another thing. It's not having the control over it that we don't like, because control makes us feel safe. And how dare they take that away from us? Obviously, I'm talking in a friendship sense here, but feeling let down or being let down is also very much something that can happen in any kind of relationship, whether it is with a partner, with a family member, as I said, with a friend. It can be with anyone, even with work colleagues to a degree, because when we get to know people, we invest ourselves into their lives, into them, as much as we think that they're doing it the other way around, but sometimes it's not always the case. So I think for me, the lesson for me on that one was that sometimes maybe I should learn to trust over time. Trust should be earned as opposed to just given and then proved right or wrong. And I think that was my own lesson from this particular experience, but it could have been any other lesson. What's important is that you learn a lesson. So if you want to have a chat about your particular circumstances because you have felt let down by somebody and it's hurt you, then please click the link underneath this video, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, have a good day.